called The Artist's Way. She talked about a morning page. Just go clear your thoughts before you start the day.
A morning page.
Yeah, just a morning page. She said you can do up to 3 pages, but don't do more than that. Just go empty your thoughts. First thing. Don't do anything else. You can grab your cup of coffee if you want to. Just go. And I've kind of got 8 markers in my life that I just go every once in a while. And today was one of those days. It's like, where are we at? Where are we at? How are we doing? How healthy are these relationships? Some of this was my relationship with myself. Others, of course, with my bride and my boys and just school and dudes. And, so you never go 8 for 8. Like, that's what I discovered. As a young man, I was always trying to find balance. Remember those days?
Yeah.
You still trying to find balance?
No.
I gave up.
It's out the window. You're right. It's out the window.
Him and I talk a lot about seasons of life.
Okay.
So in seasons of life, yeah.
Some things are going to be more here, more
4,
here.
5, 6. Man, we got some momentum going here. And so 2, 3, 4, So instead of beating myself up, I just go, okay, maybe what season is this? And it's just a better filter. So when you ask me something like that, that's a big question.
Well, what season then? Well, what is your thought process in the season that you're in right now?
Well, as a whole, who's interviewing right now? You've already pushed record, haven't you?
Yep.
Oh, my bad.
Man, ask you a question.
Bad. Yeah, my bad. No.
Who's interviewing right now?
Well, I didn't know it was an interview. I thought it was a conversation.
It is.
Right. There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Gosh, our whole family's like in transition.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
Because Isaac's about to graduate high school, and Seth's about to graduate college.
And you got one just starting, too,
And
right?
Caleb is a sophomore at UTK, but like he's about to get his first internship. He's hoping. He has a meeting tomorrow. That's could be a path forward, right? Sarah just got up here at the high school, and we just stopped coaching. And I'm in a class on a Tuesday night, and I'm teaching a class on a Thursday night, and still doing what I do here at Walker Valley. So it's just like, and our whole life is just, there's no new normal yet.
Oh, I got you. Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it's tough to evaluate.
Dang.
What about you? What season of life y'all in?
Yeah. Probably, I'd say transition. I think we all always in some type of transition.
Life is just one big flux,
yeah,
right? Tides come in, tides go out.
Yes.
Choose as many analogies and metaphors as we can.
Yeah, but I think right now we're in a good pace. Chase we just got our oldest son. It's his second year of college, so that was a transition for us. Still trying to figure out, balance of, it was 5 in the home, now it's 4 in the home, so. That was that was kind of a transition, just trying to figure out, like, man, there's something missing all the time. Like, you go sit down at a restaurant and you're like, hey, a table of 5 and it's really a table of 4, that silly stuff. And
you even stuck that word pace in there. Pace is a big deal.
Yeah, it is, man. So what we're figuring out is the pace, it doesn't necessarily slow down, but I'll say it don't necessarily slow down, but I'll say it's not the same. You know what I'm saying? It's not the same. So with that, I got a junior here at Walker Valley that's, she's thriving and loving it. She's getting her first taste of college through a dual enrollment. So that's been pretty cool to see. Yeah. And then I got an 8th grader at a co-ed middle school that's still trying to find his way, man. He last year he played football, liked it, but didn't love it. And then and he doesn't play basketball. And so this year he's playing tennis and he's loving it, but he did play track. He ran track last year and enjoyed it. So, I'm just really just trying to be right now, if I'd say where we're at, really just being intentional with the time that I have with my younger 2, because Chase is kind of, starting to build his own, life, if you will. And so I get that our relationship has changed from dad to more of, I guess, respected friend, if you will.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about that Friday at the game.
We did. Yeah, so that's been really cool, man, just to, hey, Dad, what do you think about this? Normally it was me like, hey, don't do this, don't do that. But, to hear him say, hey, Dad, I'm thinking about doing this is a cool space to be in.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
He knows about this, too.
Yeah, that's right. He was just telling me he's getting ready to get married.
That's right.
Son's getting ready to get married. So,
and Matt's about to be a grandpa.
Oh, okay, big dog. Okay.
What are you gonna be called?
It is okay.
What are you being called?
Call me Pop.
Pop?
Pop.
Not Grandpa, Pop, right?
I don't care what it calls me, but
No, we're gonna call you Pop.
The plan
As soon as it happens, Pop.
There's a plan, but you know how plans work. So
Pop.
Pop.
That's fun.
But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of good stuff going on right now, man. I'm just loving what I do. You know, getting to do full-time ministry is a real blessing for me, and telling people about Jesus. I mean, it's just that's the life I get to live, and I thank God for it every day. But it's just a cool time, man. It really is. But time is moving. That's the thing.
Chase is the ticker. He really sets the pace.
Yep,
Of
that's
how
exactly.
time goes.
Yep.
Yeah, that oldest child.
Yep, that's exactly right. You looking
He's
at
still
him
on
like-
Life 360.
No, we never did Life 360 because we're kind of
We did.
We're
I don't know what that was for.
No, I don't know, but
it was like
we're
both
extreme.
my older boys.
Yes,
They took themselves off, and we're
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. That's like a marker for us.
Yeah,
You've crossed the threshold.
yeah. You don't have to be here anymore. Yeah, we were always we didn't do it because we're just extremists. So me and
I don't
my
know what
wife
that
would
means.
me and my wife would have been this.
Oh,
Hey, we see you stop this. It would have been too much.
Extremist, I
Yeah,
got
it would
you.
have been too much for us. So
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not doing that.
That was
I'm
wise.
Not doing that. Yeah. So, so yeah. I mean,
that's cool.
I guess life is happening.
All right, let me throw it to this guy right here. Like, do you know Mr. Paris, the criminal justice teacher?
No, I don't.
Do you know Coach Paris, football, basketball?
No.
Do you know Detective Paris?
Listen,
I want you to know who you're sitting with today.
I found out. I did. I
Okay.
found out.
Do you know Officer Paris?
Yeah, I do. I do now. I do.
Do you
now.
know Bradley class of?
2002?
2002. Yeah, see?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Bradley High School graduate. He's a bear.
Class of
98.
98. So
Yeah,
you are a
man.
little bit older.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah.
too old.
Yeah.
What's it like? Like, how far back do we go? In your memory, what do you remember?
I was in high school.
Yep.
And I think I would probably say my junior year of high school is my junior year at high school. And I don't know, like, how you when you play basketball, you meet people, but you don't meet people. It's like, what I'm saying? Like, you're playing against a guy, but you don't really know him. You just know he plays at Lee, but you don't know him. And then you see him a couple more times, and they're like, hey, Paul's on our team. You're like, oh, that's Paul. So I don't know if there's ever was a time where we just like, hey, I'm Frank, I'm Paul. I think we just stepped on the court so many times that it became, that's Frank.
You're just talking about pickup basketball. This
For sure.
thing that
For
doesn't
sure.
happen as often anymore, does
No.
it?
No.
We could camp out there all day long.
no, for sure.
We could, but
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
But I would say my junior year is what I think around my junior year.
Sure.
Yep. Good Lord.
But I played for Larry Carpenter.
Yes, you
And
did.
his son, Zach, played at Bradley High School
As a sophomore.
with Frank Walker.
Yeah, he did.
So I knew you because, we just go watch the games, right?
Yeah.
Who'd you graduate with?
Jamie.
Okay.
It was just two of us.
Driscoll?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. Jamie
Who was
Driscoll.
above you? Who was that class above you?
Yes, the class above me would have been Tanner Coates, Brent Copeland,
There you go.
Blake Beard, Russell Montgomery, those guys. Mhm.
You know some of those names, don't you?
I know the names, yeah.
Mhm. Yep, those guys.
Spangler twins?
They're behind us. They're
Okay.
behind me. Mhm.
Okay,
I
so
think they might be maybe a year, maybe even 2
And those
years.
Hare brothers, younger
They're
than
behind me.
Okay.
Yeah. So Zach and Josh are the same age.
Okay.
They're the same year.
Yeah,
All
the
right.
Spangler brothers are 2000. Are they 2000 or 2001?
They might have been right behind. Yes, because they might have been. They're the same year as Josh and Zach. Yeah, they're the same year as Josh and Zach because I played 1 year with them and then I was gone.
Because then you went to Cleveland State.
Went to Cleveland
We
State.
scrimmaged all the time.
Yes, yep. Went to Cleveland
And then you
State.
came to Lee.
And then I got the opportunity to come to Lee,
Yeah.
which was great.
Yeah.
Praise God for that. Yeah.
Why do you say it that way? That
It
caught
was
my
just-
attention.
It
What's
was,
that mean?
it was just an opportunity. It's just
Yeah.
an opportunity that I didn't see. You know what I mean? It was the way it happened. There's the story behind it because it's part of my story.
Yeah.
So the way it happened is I come to go play a pickup basketball game. Supposed to be at work. I was working at Sharing Plow. I was supposed to be at work, second shift, and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna play ball at Lee." I was like, pfft. So I had a choice to make. At 3:00, either you're gonna go to work or you're gonna go play ball. Well, I was an idiot at the time, so I was like, I'm going to go play ball. So quit that day to go play ball. But when I went, nobody showed up. And so I walked in the gym at Lee University, walked in the gym thinking, where is everybody? Now, Paul will understand this, but if you walked in the gym at Lee University and you didn't go there, if you was in the gym, more than likely somebody's going to walk through and be like, hey, security, somebody's going to say, hey, you need to leave, whatever. So when I got there, I didn't see anybody there. So I'm like, man, I didn't not went to work today. What? I'm not one person showed up. So I went in and
who told you games were going on?
Yeah, you know what's funny? To this day, I still can't remember who it was.
Huh.
I want to say it was Shantae Brown is what I want to say, but I'm not sure. But anyway, so we are, I go, nobody shows up. So I'm like, did I miss the wrong place? What's the deal? Are they over at the rec center? Where, so anyway, I was like, well, I'm just going to get up some shots while I'm here. I didn't quit my job today. You know what I'm saying? They ain't playing basketball. And Rick Hughes walks in, which was the coach. He had coached, I want to say 1 or maybe 2 years there before I got there. But he was there and he walked in. So when he walked in, I thought, okay, they're getting ready to tell me I need to leave, whatever. So I keep shooting. I'll take a couple more shots. But the way the gym used to be set up, the head coach's office used to be right there at that exit door. So you have to walk past it to leave the gym. So as I was walking past it, he said, hey, are you Frank Walker? And I said, yes, sir. And he said, are you still interested in playing basketball? Because at the time I wasn't playing. So I had played 1 year at Cleveland State, and then I flunked off the team my sophomore year. And so he said, do you still want to play? I said, yeah, I'd still like to play. And he said, well, go get me your transcripts. Well, I thought, well, this will be the end of this conversation, just to be perfectly honest with you.
That dude was a JUCO king.
Yes,
I had no idea.
Was a copy. Yes, I had no idea what I was dealing with. So, fast forwarded, I bring him my stuff and whatnot. And but he was like, well, we can't offer you a scholarship, but what we do want you to do is we want you to come in and work out the guys we're bringing in. And at this time, they were bringing in some really, big recruits. They had, we had Jovan Johnson that came from University of Massachusetts. We had 2 of the JUCO All-Americans, that one of them, Carlos Singleton, he even taught, I think, at Ocoee Middle School for a little bit. He was being heavily recruited from University of Florida. Then we had Jerry Barnes, and he was I think he was actually one of the leading scorers in all of JUCO out of Florida. So these guys were coming in. So when they would bring them in, I'm playing like it's game 7. They're here just like, and I'm playing like it's game 7. Like I want a shot, and at the end of I guess that was during the spring. And he said, Coach Hughes said, we would like to offer you, but, we can't offer you because you're not eligible. So I had to take 18 hours and I had to make a 4.0 to get eligible. And I done it. So hey,
okay.
Yeah,
So
never in my life have I ever. But yes, there you go. Yes.
Okay, you've told this story to your kids,
Oh, for sure.
and they can't relate at all.
Not even a little bit.
Okay, so let's go back to flunking out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that
Oh,
just
yeah.
because you just didn't do your work, you didn't go to class, you didn't?
All the above? Didn't go to class, didn't do my work. All the above.
Because you're a smart dude.
Yeah,
Don't deflect. Don't deny.
You're right.
Yeah.
In
So
my own
it
way.
really
In my own
was
way.
just not
Yes.
going to class
Yes.
and just not doing the
for
work.
sure. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Just sheer laziness. Yeah.
So what was your Lee academic life like?
Well, my Lee academic life was a lot more structured because, from you wake up in the morning, 5 o'clock, you got basketball practice.
Yeah.
Then you could leave basketball practice, you go to classes all day, which you had to sit in the first 2 rows of class. And when you walk into class, one of the managers there's high-fiving you, like checking your name off the list. So, you know what I'm saying? So the structure
Is this
was
like the Russ Williamsons,
there
Matt
you go,
Robinson, Matt Sanders of the world?
There you go.
I got
Those
you.
guys were amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at the end of so you practice at 5, you go to your classes, you
Study
get out,
hall?
then you at study hall for
Okay.
2 hours, and then so it became routine, and I was like, oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Cleveland State was something totally different. It was like
It sounds like you also had like a change of heart, because you got to take 18 hours and make a 4.0. You did it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It was I'll tell you, that's a really good observation, because that summer I probably grew up more in that summer than I had to walk to school, that type of deal, because they couldn't provide anything. So I walked back and forth to school, and I realized that, hey, this is your only shot, because I did not
You're working shifts at
like,
Sharing
yeah,
Plow.
what
That
you
probably
gonna
had
do?
something to
You
do
know what
with
I'm saying?
it.
You want to go to school? You want to go back to Sharing Plow?
That's
What
right,
you want to
yeah.
do? So, and nothing against Sharing Plow, but
No,
it was
yeah.
just something that I didn't want to do. And I said, hey, well, if I got to make a 4.0 now, they really helped me make that 4.0, meaning like I had a roommate, and you probably remember Marko Jovanovic?
Of course.
Yes, from Yugoslavia.
Yes.
Marko was extremely smart. So I took every class that I took was with Marko. Me and Marko, after every class, Marko would sit me down. We'd go through our notes. You know what I'm saying? Just because Marko understood how to study. Marko was a disciplined guy. So yeah, I mean, and me and Marko became great friends. Still great friends to this day. I probably talk to him probably once a month. Yeah, real good. Oh, that's my guy for sure. Marko is my guy. But yeah, for sure though. It got real because it was like, what you gonna do here? So and I had the opportunity to do it, and some people helped me do it, and I've been grateful for it ever since.
Were you ever one of those local guys and you were like, I'll never go to Lee? That ever cross your mind?
No.
Or just like, was college not crossing your mind? College was crossing your mind? I mean, like.
No, college always crossed my mind. It always crossed my mind, but the deal was for me, because, you're undersized, you're not an offensive juggernaut. You're not you know what I'm saying?
You were a defensive dog.
Yeah, but that was, people
That
don't
was
hang
your
their hat
signature.
on that though.
You did?
I ain't have no choice.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
well, that is a choice.
If you want to play the next
That's
level,
right. There you go. But
this
that is
what
a
you're
choice.
gonna have to do.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
no, I was never that guy that said, no, I'm never going to leave. My thing was, I did believe that in order to, and I think it's a bad deal, but I did believe that in order to succeed, you have to leave or you have to get out of Cleveland. So I did have that mindset, but I just didn't have the option, so I didn't know what to do. But for me, when I got to Lee, it was like I was in a different world anyway. Like, people would see me and be like, hey, man, where are you at? I'm like, I'm at Lee. I stayed on campus. I was just engulfed in all the things that Lee offered. And, so to me, I got engulfed in Lee, and people thought I was out of the state, or went off to college somewhere, and I was right here. So.
Especially then.
Yeah.
Lee was a bubble.
It was. You
like got transported to some other universe.
I'm telling you.
I don't feel that way anymore. Maybe that's just 48-year-old me, and like like that it reaches into the community. But back then, it really did seem like it just existed right here.
Oh man!
Now, you said you were walking to class. Does that mean you were still at Pinewood Apartments?
I was.
Remember being at Pinewood?
Yeah, I do remember.
Because I spent a summer at Pinewood.
Yes, I do remember. But I wasn't at Pinewood. I was actually we were on 6th Street. My mom lived on 6th Street.
Walking.
So and I just, it wasn't that far, but you get up in the morning. I had a 8 o'clock class. You get up, walk past Vest Grocery, come across, go over the railroad tracks, or walk across the soccer field. I can walk right past the Con Center into the gym or onto campus, and boom, here we go. Yeah. Every morning. Mm-hmm. Sure did. And every morning it was like, on that walk, I'd pray, Lord, you got to help me today. Lord, help me with my understanding. Lord, help me to be disciplined and turning in my work. All that.
You weren't praying all those prayers at Cleveland State?
Not one of them. Not one of them. Not one, Paul. Not one. No.
I got you.
No, that was the furthest thing from my mind. And we had some, like when I was at Cleveland State, I will say, like, that team, my freshman year, that team was unreal. Like,
you had Terrell,
Nate Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, what's his name?
What was the team?
Oh God.
Tim Bain was playing over there.
Tim Bain. Yeah, that's right.
I'm just thinking of names.
That's right. Tim Bain played. We had a Jesse. I forgot Jesse. We had a kid named Jesse. I think he was from Middle Tennessee. I mean, I think we actually went to like I want to say the semifinals or something of our region. And we got beat by the team out of Memphis. I forgot the name of that team, but they actually won the JUCO national tournament. So,
that was a good squad.
Yeah, it was. D and them they were amazing.
Yeah.
Then D went on to be, who D was at Lee. So, I mean, he was.
Yeah, I got to play with him that first year.
Oh, that's right. You did. Yeah. So he was a monster.
Okay, so from Cleveland State to Lee, that really was a portal, transformational experience. When was the next time you walked through the next portal and had a transformational experience? So we mentioned this before. I bring it up a bunch. He reminds me a bunch. Timothy Keller. You know that name at all? author,
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
preacher.
Yeah.
So, he writes this book about he tells this story. He owns the story from someone else, but he just talks about I can tell many stories of transformations where I've just become this other person. And I've taken that upon myself. And so I call myself Paul 6.0.
Oh, that's funny. You say that.
But when he writes in this book, and it's in a marriage book, he writes, so I'm just stealing his words to say to you, because you know my Sarah. Sarah 6 times has had to decide whether she was going to stick and stay with this new fella in her house.
Okay.
Because the transformation has been it's healthy, it's good, but it's different. There's a new normal that now exists. And it's not just natural life transition because you have kids growing up, right? Or maybe a job transition. But true inner landscape work has been done. Matt even said to you, man, you had a switch.
Mm-hmm.
When was the next? Hey, man, I'm becoming something different, something fresh, something new, something transformed. You can hang out in Romans right there if you want to. When was that next? When was that next transformation where really you're making decisions on your own? You're feeling the weight of those consequences. Consequences aren't always bad,
right? Yeah.
They can be very good, but man, you're carrying this weight.
I think
what was next?
I think it would probably be for me. It would, and probably for all of us, but for me, definitely when I got married.
Yeah.
I mean, you've asked this young lady to be your wife, and then you've promised before God to take care of her and be this and be that. And for me, I didn't have no real background to what it is to be what I was wanting to be. So I'm doing it kind of like, hey, I know what it is to be a husband, but you don't know what it is to be a husband until you become a husband. Mm-hmm. Because, what it is, what my wife needs, your wife might not need, or I'm saying, it looks different. So I step into this space of trying to be what I'm thinking is a husband in my mind, but my wife needs something totally different. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I'm going to provide and I'm going to make sure that I protect. And she was like, I need somebody that's going to listen to me. And I'm like, you're supposed to have a girlfriend for that.
So those traditional values that you just mentioned, provide, protect. Yeah, you pick that up along. I mean, you can watch a movie and pick that up, right?
Exactly.
Okay, but to actually pick up what your wife actually needs. How long did it take you to figure that out?
I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah.
But
that's a great answer. Good job.
Yeah, but probably, to where I said, hey, man, I got to start probably about 4 or 5 years.
And maybe it's more us figuring ourselves out.
There you go. That's
and not necessarily figuring them out.
Yeah. Because a lot of it is like when you talk about, when you had to start doing the work, you know what I'm saying? Like you come into it as, okay, I'm this, I'm in love with this woman and, what I'm saying? I'm choosing to build a life with her. And I don't really know what it takes to do it. But at the same time, I'm like, I know it's right by what I believe, meaning my Christian values and who I am as a man of God. So I'm trying to do right by that, and I'm trying to continue to pursue Christ. But at the same time, I've got my own issues, my own, insecurities or whatever, my own sinful nature that I'm fighting through to be able to kind of become what it is that she needs. And in doing that, you have to do the work. And, you start, and I always say that there's no greater tool that I think that the Lord uses than a husband and wife to make one die to himself. And then if you want to be a good husband or a good wife, you're going to have to die to yourself. I don't care who you are. And so for me, as I started, going through, and my wife is like, hey, we ain't going to make it this way. Well, failure is just, as a competitor or whatever, you're like, that's not an option. Like, we got to get this right. Mm-hmm. So then you start trying to check the boxes, and then you still come up short. Mm-hmm. Then you start to realize, like, hey, man, how about you surrender to the Lord in this and watch Him move? And then that's another one of those transformational moments to where, you have to make a decision, and you come to the fork in the road like, hey, okay, you're going to do it your way or you're going to do it God's way. And in order to do it God's way, you got to first surrender for it. And once I started surrendering, I started hearing, what I'm saying? I really just started hearing what God would have me to do and what she needed. And And then that made me a better man, just because, like I said, I was willing to say, okay, lay down my pride, lay down my insecurities, and really deal with it. Really address it based on serving the Lord, just based on really saying, God, I need you here because I don't know what this looks like. I don't have a template. I can see it from afar, but I don't know what it looks like close because my dad wasn't in the house, and what I'm saying, now I have a son, and I'm trying to be a father. Like, I don't know what this looks like, So then it became like, okay, in order to do this, you're going to have Christ in order for this to work. In order for this to be what you want it to be, you got to have Christ to do it. So I surrendered there, and
You do realize you're now a template for other people. Those 3 that live in your house.
Oh, for sure.
You're a template.
For sure.
You are a template for other people in this community. You do realize that, right?
You would hope.
No. You do realize that, right? Like, I'm an outsider looking inside of your family, and I know that to be true.
That's
So
good, man. That's good.
It is.
That's a good thing.
Now, let's put both of what you just said side by side.
That's a good thing.
Where you came from, where
Yeah.
you are now.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Hey,
To not have a template and then you become a template.
yeah.
That's not perfection. It's just structure, right? It's a path. It's a righteous path that you are traveling, and you now know the power of invitation, of bringing people along, right?
Yeah,
It's what you do now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But man, how difficult was that at the beginning? How old were you when you got married?
I was 24 when I got married.
How old were you when Chase came along?
26.
Yeah.
Yeah. And man, it rocked me. I'm talking. I mean, like, I had no idea, man. I had some real, and at the time, you know, like I said, you start checking the boxes. Like, okay,
What are
I'm
your
going
boxes?
to work.
You're using that
Yeah.
analogy. But what are your boxes?
I'm working. I'm here. And
Providing,
and I'm
protecting.
providing.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody's coming in here taking over. But you checking these boxes, but you are still you're still so absent. Because I get up, go to work, and one of my strengths was that I was just naturally a hard worker. Like, you put me in a gym, you put me in a locker room, you put me in a weight room, I'm a work because I'm a compete. So for me, it was like, I'm doing the things. What are you talking about? I'm doing the things. But then I start realizing that my spiritual life started to suffer because I started relying on myself. I'm like, get up, go to work. Money coming in, boom, boom, make sure the bills are paid. Boom, boom, you know what I'm saying? So any argument that you have against me, I got an argument against you because I'm checking the boxes.
Where'd
I'm
you
here.
pick that up at?
Man, I think more or less it's just like, I thought that me not being, like, how, and you guys have probably heard this before, but when you're raised without a single father, the first thing that you think is, I don't want to be like what my dad was. So in that,
We ever have those conversations?
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
We
so
do.
in that, you think about it, in that you're thinking, well, I don't want to be like my dad, right? But okay, you don't take into consideration of who your dad was, what his demons was. You're just like, I don't want to be like him. So in order for me not to be like him, I had to be present. So guess what? I ain't leaving. I'm here.
Felt like enough, didn't it?
Yeah, like, I ain't leaving. I go to work every day. And she's like, so guess what? My dad did that his whole life. See, because she knew what that looked like. My dad did that his whole, there's men do that every day. You don't get a pat on the back for that. I thought I did at the time though, and then that was just a transitional moment that I think, like I said, my wife is probably been my greatest teacher for sure. I mean, she is, and she's still teaching me, but I'll say that without her, man, I probably definitely would not be here where I'm at today.
And you have a good relationship with your father-in-law.
Yeah, I do. He stepped into my life. Me and him, we went round and round. He went round and round with me. We went round and round and round. But he's a good Christian man. Military guy. He was just, and he's out. But he always told me. He said, Frank, he would told me before I even got married. He was like, you thought that me and your relationship was because of my daughter. But he was always like, man, it had nothing to do with our relationship. It was because I felt like the Lord drew me to you. So it was like him trying to disciple me and help me to see what it is to be accountable, what it is to be disciplined, what it is to, to really follow after Christ. And he was really, really instrumental in my life when it came to my Christian walk, for sure, because he held me accountable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you married into a healthier family than the one that you grew up in. As did I.
Yeah.
Like, that's my Sarah's story.
Barn.
You know, I mean, you know Grammy and Pops.
Keith
and Marla.
Yeah.
And it provided something else, a glimpse into something healthier, something a little bit more consistent. I mean, I'm the son of an alcoholic.
Yeah.
I'm the stepson of a workaholic. And I chased that dream of, making sure I'm not an alcoholic or a workaholic for 30 years. Now I've got 3 kids, and I was pretty empty. I was struggling. For me, some counseling, some therapy, and then the gracious gift of some dudes who came into my life. For you, ever therapy, counseling?
Man, no, I never did. And but I'll tell you this, I never did until I made a transition to First Baptist.
Tell me more.
So
also, before you get started, I know who your father-in-law is. And you've been through therapy. Just the time that I spent with him, he introduced me to certain things. This is you talk about.
Tell me more about your relationship with Father.
I worked with Donnie Arnwine for years at the Bradley County Sheriff's Office in the jail, and he, like I said, I'm 20 years old. I'm newly married, got a new baby, and this is a guy. I don't know how to say this, but Donnie is. He is military, and he's a guy who doesn't back away from tension at all.
No. You get that right?
Not even a little bit. You're right.
It's either because you can
at work and at home.
Hey, he embraces.
He is who he is everywhere he goes.
Everywhere.
I don't know his backstory, but you can tell he come from something, and he don't want to go back there, and he holds this line. And anyways, he's the guy at the break table telling 21-year-old Matt Paris, like, hey man, you got this group of people and you're saying that you want to do different things, but there's going to be some disagreements with that old camp, and I had therapy at the break table.
I got you. Yes. Sunday mornings when we talk, yes. So yes, if we look at it that way, yes. I've never had professional therapy until I went to First Baptist, and one of the guys on staff. When I came to First Baptist, it was such a moment for me, because I was like, Lord, I don't want to mess this up. And I don't.
4, 5, 6 years ago. I'm guessing.
I've been there 5 years now, so probably 2-3 years ago when I did it. So, and this is the first time I've ever said this out loud, so this is funny.
This is what we do around here.
I see. I got a buddy who was on staff. His name was Michael Head. And Michael, he had been through therapy. He did therapy. He did intense therapy. And I was of the camp, forgive me, but I was of the camp, when people say anxiety and depression and all that type of stuff, I was just like, I just wasn't a believer. I was just like, man, pull your pants up.
Because you were a provider and a protector.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there you go.
But your wife was going, whoa, there's more, there's more.
Yes.
But sometimes you need another dude who comes along and says, well, your wife is onto something. Let me share you my story.
Exactly.
Am I getting this right?
No, that's right. No, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
so
keep going.
So Michael was just like, he's like, Frank, man, because I never really anxious. Anxiety just wasn't a thing. I didn't believe it, but I was finding myself like anxious all the time. And I was like, what is this? And it was so far from who I had been. I was like, what the heck is this? And then it became an issue of fear, like you're disappointing people. You are, you are afraid of failure. Like, And it was, because it was like, okay, at this point in time, I was the first Black ever, first Black pastor ever put on staff at First Baptist in a church that was 165 years old. So I'm stepping into this role, and I'm like, you cannot mess this up. Do not drop the ball. You got to make this work,
Pause. That's a true story?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
That piece right there, you probably have told me that before, but now that we have it wrapped in all this context, that's gonna create some anxiety.
And then not
Sure.
thinking, and I'm
Sure.
just thinking this is just
Maybe not even conscious, but
I'm
unconscious,
not.
yeah.
I'm
You're
not.
carrying it,
And
yeah.
I remember my first Sunday at First Baptist. First Sunday, I walk in. They say, "Hey, you gonna do?" Well, they told me a couple of days before, but they say, "Hey, you gonna do the offering?" So I'm like, "All right, I've done offerings a million times. Like nothing. Okay, I got you. Don't worry about this. I'm knocking this at the park." I stepped on that stage, and I looked out, and I seen all these white people, and it was just like I had no idea. And they welcomed me. Oh man, I love my church. I love my church. I love the people of my church. I love my church, but it was an experience that I wasn't really prepared for. And it hit me on stage. And, I did it, went through it, whatever, it was, not that big of a deal. But that moment, I wore it because it was just like every time I'd step in there, like, hey, you better get it right. You better get it right. So then it became an issue of performing. And I'm like, man, now I felt like I couldn't be myself. And then as God always does, he sends people, sends men. And he sent Jim Gibson into my life. And he sent Dave Gregory into my life. And they were like, man, be you. Like, it's okay to be you. Like, be you. And it still took a while, but in that process, Michael, my buddy, was like, hey, man, have you ever thought about doing therapy? I was like, man, yeah, but no. Yeah, but no. And and he was like, man, you should try it. And I went for probably about a month. So I did about a month's worth of it. And I did it because we were getting ready to do our Go Love Serve event. And it's a big event that I kind of push and run with. And we were doing this event, and I could find myself really I couldn't sleep. I go to sleep at around 9. I'm up again at 11. I can't go back to sleep. And then I'm tired all day. And I'm just always waiting. It was almost like I was anticipating the ball to drop. And then I did therapy. And I did it for about a month. And the therapist, she was great. She was amazing. And
was it at the church or somewhere in town?
no, it wasn't at the church. The first time was at I forgot the name of the company, but I went through a professional, like a company, whatever, and they gave me. And it was a Christian organization, and I did it with her for probably about 4 weeks, and she gave me some real nuggets, some stuff to really do, and it was good. And then so now I just kind of go, if it kind of gets where I'm getting really anxious about something, or I'll go talk to Jim, I'll go talk to Dave, or I'll go talk to Steve Morgan. Steve Morgan's an amazing guy,
You have named some pillars in this community.
Yeah, I mean,
not just in First Baptist.
Yeah, I mean, those guys are like legit for me, but
you were given some skills to understand your triggers.
Yes, that hey,
you can't carry it alone, even though you may be the face and the voice of a ministry at a pretty big place here in this town.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, it's one of those things that, we continue to die to ourselves, but it comes back to what I was saying, like even when I was walking through with my wife, is I had to learn to surrender again. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this is a moment like, hey, Frank, yep, God opened this door for you to walk through. You did it by faith. You know what? God's going to continue to provide for you, so surrender. Surrender. You got to surrender to what God is wanting to do. This isn't yours to do. God is just using you to do it. And you got to surrender to that. And with and our staff, man, our staff at First Baptist, that's one of the things that we do, man. They pour into us a lot, man. They do. They give us resources. They make sure that we're healthy. You know what I'm saying? As far as they try to be really intentional about making sure that our being comes before our doing. So how is your being? And that's one of the things that we do try to stay on top of. So those guys started pouring into me, and it's got me to a place now to where it's like, okay, God, if this is going to work, it's got to be you, because it can't be me, So, and every now and then I'll pick it up. Every now and then I'll pick it up from time to time and get my hand burned and be like, okay, I need to put this back down. You know how it goes. But but I mean, those are moments. And that's one of the moments where I did therapy for that. Yeah. I did, because it was a deal.
Richard Rohr, name I mention to him quite often, talks about many, many deaths and many, many resurrections in this life of faith.
That's good.
It's just another way to say it, but check out what he's saying. Many as in a lot, many as in small deaths, with many a lot. many small resurrections. And like that is kind of, maybe we come back to that idea of the cycles of life, the seasons of life, the tide comes in, the tide goes out, death and resurrection. And he's like, when we begin to understand life that way, that there is a time of ordering, there is a time of disorder, and there's a time of reorder. And that you continue to look at, and he says, look at nature, look at scripture, look at your life, look at nature, look at scripture, look at your life, look at nature, look at scripture, look at your life, and you will begin to see the patterns. And so when the order turns into disorder, there's no longer panic, but maybe more so focused intent in that season.
That's good.
Of being way more aware,
That's good.
way more conscious. And it doesn't make anything easier. It just makes it to where we don't, one of the things, for me, it was, the first go around was 3.5 years of counseling, where it was like, don't hurt your wife. That's what Gail kept telling me. Don't hurt your wife. Don't hurt your wife. And it wasn't in the physical sense. It was in the, you say things without filtering anything. That hurts your wife. Don't hurt your wife. Because I used Sarah unconsciously as my therapist for quite some time.
Gotcha.
Because I'm a talker. And so I'll say things, and like it's the last thing that I say is what I actually mean. But if you're a good listener, you heard everything up until that point. And you can't unhear anything, Sarah would tell me. And so you've told me all of this. You said all of this. You tried to explain all of this. And you landed here, and you wanted me to just hear this, but I heard everything. And some of that was just, it hurt. Don't hurt your wife. Things can be undone. Gail would say that a lot. Things can be undone. I mean, I anchored into that hope. And you're not alone. And then I really saw that come to fruition of, some people started coming to my life. Chris Cretton, you know that name?
Oh, yeah.
He's a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Zach Rowland, he was at Lee at the time you were. If you played any intramurals at all, you crashed into him.
Oh.
Did you ever play any intramurals?
I did. I played some softball and some flag football. Yeah.
And Zach Rowland in some sort of way. But I took a couple trips to Mexico with him, and he taught me how to just be. You talked about being and doing.
Yeah.
He's a guy that went down to Mexico to run a school, and people from back home in Calhoun, Georgia, wanted to come down and help and paint and fix roofs, and he's just like, nah, just come down here and learn from these folks. They love Jesus too.
That's right.
So just come on down.
That's right.
And he would tell stories of half the places would say, no, thank you. Another half would come down and have this very unique experience of catching a glimpse of what a trip can be. That the mission may not be to help fix people's physical domiciles, but that we could actually be nurtured and cared while we're in a different place. And so it was neat to see him just be that down there. I went a couple times, and it's just, he was a big deal. I had some older folks come into my life, Jeff Kalb and Dr. Baker, and I mean, just people who said,
Jeff Kalb.
You know that name?
Oh, yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah, Jeff. I mean, Jeff's an amazing guy.
Yeah, his daughter teaches here, Hannah. But he's older than me. He was an engineer at Whirlpool. He's retired now.
Yeah.
But we would walk, and we were deacons together at Westwood, and we both kind of hit this season of life where we both started asking questions out loud, and we found each other, and now we're asking questions out loud with each other.
Yeah.
And you don't always get the answers to those questions, but there's value in knowing that you're not the only one asking the questions.
I got you.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's a big deal in my life.
Oh man,
those fistful of dudes in that season of life, he was one of those, and still is. I mean, when we see each other, he bear hugs.
Oh yeah,
he's a strong dude,
yes. And he always
he will not let me go. Yes. Okay.
He's always.
We're talking about the same dude.
Yes. Very mission. Him and his wife are very missional minded too. They do some amazing stuff. They do. Yeah. They help us in our local missions. So Jeff is a really good dude. Yeah. And I just met Jeff when I got to First Baptist. I didn't know him, and he started serving a little bit in our cold weather ministries is what he does. So and he helps through the Salvation Army. But Jeff he is legit. Yeah, he is legit. He is really legit.
Yeah, I love it when we crash into people that we both know. It's really cool.
He's what's called too. He's loving this retired life.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. I was like, okay.
I told her, I said, I see you less now that you're retired. Because he's always going somewhere.
Yes, he is. Yes, he's loving the retired life. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of travel, you do a bunch of that these days.
Yeah, I get the opportunity to. Yeah.
Last place you went, next place you're going?
Last place I went, I got the opportunity to go to Mauritania, and I went to Morocco, and I went in May, which was an amazing trip with Jim Gibson and some other people. And then but the next place I'm going, I get to go to Nepal in October, and I'll be in Nepal for 16 days with Ben Smith and a couple other guys. But we're going there, and we're gonna get to go into the mountain and hopefully get to minister to some unreached people groups. So have the opportunity to see and meet and do life with people that have never heard the gospel. And I know that's, for me, that was a big thing when I hear people say unreached people group. Like are there really people that's never heard of the gospel? And there is. So I get the opportunity to go, and super grateful for that and look forward to it. Thank God's going to do some big stuff.
One of my favorite questions to ask when we do stuff like this is like, okay. Buddy.
Hang on, let me ask it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're walking down 6th Street.
Okay.
You take a ride on, is it Dooley? You got to cut over to 8th.
Okay.
You're going to take a left and cross the tracks and go to Lee.
Okay.
With that guy walking down 8th Street to cross the tracks, would he believe that this guy's going to Nepal and Morocco?
No.
Is that the question you were going to ask?
No.
He knows.
No.
What's that guy saying to this guy?
Right now?
Yeah, what's he saying? Y'all are walking to campus together. Somehow you just crashed into each other?
Yeah, I would probably say he would.
What's he saying to you right now?
He's probably like, oh man, he's being honest with you. He's probably saying, who have you tricked to send you to? Who have you tricked to send you to the ball? That's why he's probably like, what? Yes, like they don't know you is probably what he's saying. So he's like, what? Yes, and this will be my second trip to Nepal, but like the places that I've gotten to go and things that I've gotten to see, he'd be like, and he never imagined it.
You can't see it, can he?
He never imagined it. No, because to be honest with you, Paul, I'm living my dream. Like to have a wife and 3 kids, I'm living my dream. Mm-hmm. Like that was my dream. Like people say, dream big, dream big, dream big. And I'm like, and that was the biggest dream that I could come up with this. I was like, I want to have a wife and I want to have kids and I want my kids to love me and I want my wife to admire me and love me. So I'm really living my dream. I mean, literally living my dream. Yeah. Just so happen I get to do it right here where I'm from, but I'm living my dream.
All right, so what are you saying to him? What are you saying to him? Give him a word.
I would tell him, stop compromising. That's what I would say. That's what I would say to him. Yeah, stop compromising. Because I would say, for sure, stop compromising. One of the reasons why I went so hard is because you carry this weight of people have invested in you. Like my high school basketball coach, I didn't tell you guys this, but in order for me to go to summer school, I had to pay for it myself. There's no way I could have paid for it. It was like $4,000. There's no way. So when they told me that I had to pay for it, I actually was like, okay, that's the end of this. It's over with. So, oh well. Well, then Coach Hughes calls me back and he said, hey, somebody paid for it. Well, I never knew who paid for it. Then come to find out after I graduated college, come to find out that my high school basketball coach, Coach Ken Smith, paid for it. So during that time, I don't know who paid for it, but I'm thinking, you can't let people down. So you're carrying that, like you got to go to class because somebody didn't pay $4,000 for you and you don't know who it is. And it could be the teacher that you skipped in their class. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So, and so at times then you start to build this character or this character flaw of compromising for people. You're like, man, you might not really say what you mean, or you might just let stuff go over and it causes you to go the long way around instead of just really speaking up and saying certain things. And So I think for him, I would tell him, hey, don't compromise. It's okay to be you and be all of you all the time. And people are still going to love you, and people are still going to respect you, and but you don't have to live the life of compromise. And so that's what I would tell him. Yeah, that's definitely what
I feel like I'm talking to like maybe Frank 4.0. Okay, maybe.
Okay.
Just it's just a first
4.0.
analysis.
Yeah, okay.
So when did you find your voice?
Man, it's funny you say that. I think, like you were saying, I think you find your voice and lose your voice in certain places. Like in my home, I found my voice a lot earlier than I found my voice outside my home. You know what I'm saying? So in my home,
I don't know what you're saying. Explain.
Okay, it's like my brother says this. My brother says, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Do you know the place that a lion never roars? You would say what? Take a guess.
In the den?
Right, right. He doesn't roar in his den because they know who he is, right? The people in my home know who I am, so I don't have to. My intensity in my home is not the same as it is outside of my home. So for me, whenever I found my voice in my home, I started realizing, hey, I'm doing the things of a father, I'm doing the things of a husband to garner my voice in my home. But when I stepped outside of my home, I was finding my voice to be a lot quieter. Meaning like, hey, certain things I just wouldn't say, I wouldn't step into, I wouldn't lean into, whether it was just insecurities or whatever. But what I started realizing was the same person that I am at home, I am outside of my home. So one of the things that I had to start realizing was that people need you to be that person. Like, and we don't walk around like, people need me. You don't really believe that until you start running into certain people and they're like, Frank, man, I've been watching you from afar, and this really spoke to me, man, and I appreciate you. And then you're sitting here on a podcast, and Paul says something like, Frank, man, you're a template for people, and you like, so you don't necessarily, my voice wasn't, like in certain spaces, my voice is louder, I would say, than other places. And so there's certain places you could probably put me in, and I'm probably going to be a lot more docile than I am in other places.
Even still now?
Absolutely.
Because even still now, I would call that discernment. I would call that you know how to read a room. I would call that you could possibly be the smartest person in that room because you understand when to speak up, because that's sometimes what the smartest person does. And other times the smartest person knows to stay silent.
But the funny thing about that, though, Paul,
yeah,
the funny thing about that is those people like might be able to read a room and say, hey, I know when to speak up and when not to speak up. But the thing about it is knowing like, hey, will you speak up? You might know what to say, and you might know, hey, when to say it, but will you do it at the right time?
Are you still hesitating to speak up sometimes?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure I do that.
Is that an insecurity flaring up? And I only use that term because I use it with him all the time, because I can now recognize when my insecurities flare up. And so now I have a choice to make in the moment, when before I didn't feel like I had a choice because this felt so like I can't. Well, I can.
It's good.
So I'm going to come back to, was there a breakthrough moment? Was it gradual? Was there a person that put their hand on your shoulder and said, dude, do you get who you are?
I think it's gradual, Paul.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's just gradual. I think it's just process. The Bible tells us it's from glory to glory. I think that's what it is. I think, and I'll say this too, when you get exposed to new things, I mean, that stretches you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, like I said, I've been at First Baptist for 5 years now, and, I think that I found my voice there. When day one, I don't think my voice, I didn't know my voice. So I think, when I first went to Kenya, what I'm saying? It was like, my voice isn't the same as it is now, So, when I move around the world, like, my voice isn't the same as it is in other places. And it's not because they don't know me. It's just because it's a process for me to be exposed, coming from East Cleveland, being exposed to this is like, man, I don't know what this is. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely not going to speak on it. And I'm not going to put till I figure this out. So, and I think what God has done with me is he has put the fork in the road with me to be able to see, like you said, is it, what'd you say, is it a flare up when you was talking about?
Yeah, my insecurities just flare up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me though, it becomes that fork in the road to, hey, this is a moment where because I'm always praying to God, and you guys can pray for me at any time for this, but courage is always a deal for me. So I want to make sure that I step into those moments and step into them the way God, because I could step into those moments as me, but I want to step into those moments like God wants me to step into. Like, hey, I want to speak the truth. I don't want to compromise the word. I don't want to compromise my integrity. I don't want to do those things. So whenever I do speak up, I want it to be with courage, but I want it to be accurate. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people can speak up courageously and it could be left field.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's that kind of that two piece of being, you know what I'm saying, speaking with your voice, but making sure, hey, have you done the homework to make sure it's accurate? Have you done the work to, to make sure that what you're speaking on and do you have the wisdom and the knowledge of what you're speaking on? Mm-hmm. And those two things, to me, I think when people do that, you get change, you get unity, you get progress. But I think there's a lot of courageous speakers going on right now, and they're not so accurate. So, so for me, it's always trying to hit that bullseye of being courageous, but also being accurate. So,
yeah. That's a good word, man. Because it is about taking a risk. I mean, that encourages. You feel that fear.
Yes.
I mean, you're a parent now, buddy.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you pat them on the back and go, "Hey, you can," and you let them, and you don't do that for them anymore when they were 4, 6, and 8.
No.
You're now saying, hey, yeah, go ahead and take this risk, because even if it doesn't work out for you the way that you see in your head right now, you're still going to be okay. You're going to be the better for it.
Yeah.
And I think parenting allows us to not only see that, but be that, but then be encouraged to continue to do that, because this is part of that faith walk. If we ain't taking risks, we talk about this. How is that a life of faith? It's a life of normal.
That's exactly right.
I'm going to go back to checking boxes.
Yeah.
So you're checking boxes of going to work and sticking and staying in your home. And, hey, I'm going to check the box I prayed today because I said some words. Or check the box that I went to church today. I gave some money this week. And, I mean, that can still be a very hollow, shallow experience until you start actually taking some risks. Maybe with that money, you're taking some risks with that time. So back us up a little bit, because when you first got on that stage at First Baptist and you had this moment.
Yeah.
But back us up, like what were you doing? Where were you at? I know you were in Texas for a while.
So yeah.
But what was it that got you to First Baptist? What was the life experiences where First Baptist said, "Hey, we see Frank Walker. Oh my word, yes, this is the fit." What other experiences, I guess, from Lee to First Baptist? What's this look like right here?
Oh man, I did ministry in Georgia. So my friend, my friend who kind of led me to the Lord, Jamie Driscoll. He
try not to throw that name out there like we don't know who that is.
James Allen Driscoll. That's his name.
He made it to Christmas with the Lee University Flames. And he was one of 6 to leave. We had to go. We had to go over to the rec center and pick up some intramural players.
Yes,
but that's okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I graduated college. When I graduated college, his dad was a traveling evangelist, Phil Driscoll, and he.
Pause. You know these names?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
So yeah, he's a trumpet player or whatever. So he would travel all over the United States, the world even, and so they wanted me. He was like, "Man, why don't you come work for my dad?" Because after I graduated college, I didn't really know what I was going to do.
What'd you get your degree in?
I got it in sociology. So yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
sociology, history. Oh, you're coming to visit my class this semester. Okay. Yes, you are. First block, a real sociology degree.
I got you. I'm there. I got you.
Okay, good. All right, keep going.
So
you're in Georgia. What part of Georgia are we in?
So I was in Athens, Georgia.
Okay.
And he moved. His dad kind of went through a transition, and he moved. And when he moved, he was like, "Hey, man, I don't want to go about this alone or whatever." So I was like, "All right, I'm with you," because he was my guy. Like, that's my, brother. So he moved, and I was like, "I'll go with you." So I went with him, and he was doing his thing, and I was working at a place called Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I was working there, and like I said, I was married. Just had my son. My son at the time was 6 months old, and after that, I started working for this ministry called Emmanuel Praise Ministry. And what it was is, have you guys ever heard of Angel Food Ministries? It's where the church, so what it did, it was the largest nonprofit ministry in the United States. And what it would do is
Angel Food?
Angel Food
You
Ministries.
ever heard of it?
So it would partner with churches. So this ministry would partner with churches all over the United States. And what it would do is they could get a box of food, and people could purchase a box of food for $25. So then the USDA backed it. And when the USDA backed it, they gave Angel Food the largest grant in the history of the United States. I think it was like $8 million or something like that. For this grant that they didn't have to pay back, and they gave it to Angel Food Ministries. Well, when Angel Food Ministries got it, one of the things that it did is for the SNAP program, which is food stamps, people could go and purchase Angel Food box of food for $25, but they would have to go to their local church to do it. So their local church got a kickback of like $1, $1.25, or something like that. So for every box of food that your church, say Paul's church, he would get every box of food that you sell, you get $1.25 back to your church. So this ministry was huge. It was all over the United States. So churches they had a big trucking company that they would move the food all over these, I guess, cold storage trailers. We'd move them all over the United States, all the way to California.
What were you doing?
So what I did is I did the logistics for them.
Okay.
So what I would do is, like, they'd give me a territory. Like, I think my territory was like Georgia, Florida, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, kind of like the southeast, middle southeast region.
Big territory.
It is huge.
Okay.
So, and what I would do is I would just make sure that, contact all the churches, make sure that, after the deliveries, that the deliveries went well, because whenever the truck pulled up, people would be outside waiting. So they would unload the truck, the church people, volunteers would unload the truck, and then make sure everybody got their food. So I would make sure that, pastors and mission pastors and that type of stuff was taken care of, and that they were okay, and, how did the drop go, that type of deal. So I did that probably for about 2 years. And in the process, they also had a church, which was Emmanuel Praise Church. And so I was the youth pastor and the kids pastor there. Yeah, I know it. It's a trip, dude. So, but it was more of an outreach. The student ministry was more of an outreach than it was, because we didn't have a lot of kids in the church. So we just bust a bunch of kids in, and we would minister that
So I'm
way.
already seeing
Yes.
your life and your work at First Baptist.
Yeah, exactly.
And this experience right here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I did that. We did that for probably about 5 years. And then I went to Texas, went to Midland, Texas. And that was, I went out there to be an associate pastor with a guy named Braden. What's Braden's last name? Oh, my goodness. That's
Braden
terrible.
Davis.
No, that's not it. But anyway, Braden and Connor, Braden Connor.
Do you know our Braden Davis? I just had to throw that
Yes,
in
I do.
there.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
just
why I was
making
like,
sure
no.
know.
It's like, yeah. But Braden Connor was the pastor out there at the church, and I went out there, and he played baseball at Tennessee Wesleyan. So me and him, we didn't know each other, but we had mutual friends, and went out there, and I was his associate pastor, and I did that for about maybe a year and a half, and then we came back to Cleveland. And when I came back to Cleveland, I just did. I said I was kind of like bitter with ministry, and I was like, I'm not doing ministry anymore. I'm just sick of dealing with people, or dealing with men in ministry, to be honest with you. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to work. So I went back to school. I said, I'm a coach, and I'm riding it out that way. And I started doing that, and then I had a pastor here, Pastor Bob Malone, asked me. He was like, hey, because I was going to church there, and that's the church I kind of grew up in, if you will. And he asked me, he said, hey, won't you come and be my campus pastor? And I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm like, no, I'm going to school. I'm coaching. I'm doing a little entrepreneurial stuff. I'm doing my detailing business. I'm painting. I'm not doing that.
That is a life. We'll call it a season, because we've used that word a bunch. It was a season of content, wasn't it? Just manual labor. Just get it done. Get home.
Good. I'm good. Yes.
Not worry about it till tomorrow.
I'm good.
Yeah.
It's over. At 5 o'clock, it was over.
Yeah.
And then
Because you're not living that life now.
No, that's definitely no. It's 24 hours a day. Yes, for sure. But I did that, man. And then, but how I got on the radar at First Baptist is, when all this stuff happened with George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
So the George Floyd deal went on, and me and another guy he was kind of challenged me. He's like, hey, Frank, we should we should do something. So I was like, what you want to do? He was like, let's do something. And I was like, whatever. You name what you want to do. I'll get behind you. We'll do it. So he was like, how about we do a unity walk. And I was like, cool, let's do it. So we went on to Mix 103 or Mix 104. Which one is it?
Hey, don't get that wrong, man.
Which one is it?
Mix 104. I'm
Okay,
going to tell Steve Hartline.
No, don't tell Steve because he'll wear me out. Please don't. So yeah, it was Mix 104. So we went and we talked about it, and we really didn't think. We thought 50, 60 people show up. The people that we know is going to show up. It's going to be a good day. And we walked from the village. Well, I say it as the Village Green, but
we know the Village Green.
Okay, the Village Green. Yeah. So we walked from the village on Emmons Street. We walked all the way down to Mosby Park, and then back to what's the name of the park right there downtown? Johnson Park. Yeah. And so we walked. We did the walk, and when we got there, it was like I think 1,100 people showed up. So we were like, this is crazy. So we're all walking down Inman Street, and then we had planned that when we get back to Johnson Park, we're just gonna say a little something, and then do a little music and send people home. Well, one of the things that my piece was, the Lord really laid on my heart the message about Peter, about what unity really looks like. And so I spoke on that. And to me, unity, how you measure unity, how do you measure real unity? Most people say you measure unity when you're arm in arm. So if me and Paul link up arm in arm, people would say, man, they're unified. But for me, what I felt like during that time was I used Peter and his denial of Christ. And Peter, right before he denied Christ, he cut a man's ear off, chopped his ear off in the Garden of Gethsemane. Boom, chopped his ear off. Jesus picks the ear up, heals the guy, says, Peter, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Well, after that, Peter leaves and denies Christ 3 times. He denies him 3 times. You would think Peter is with Christ if he's chopping a Roman soldier's ear off. You think he's with him. But how you really measure it is not what people say when they're in your midst, but what people say when they're not in your midst. So the thing was, will you speak for me when I'm not around? Will I speak for Paul and his character that I know of? Will I speak for Paul when he's not around? So when I'm in a room with a bunch of people and they say something contrary to what I know about Paul, will you speak up and say, hey, that ain't Paul? That ain't Matt, And I said, that's what this world needs, is for people to speak when the other people aren't in the room, because there's going to be rooms that Matt step in that I'll never get in. There'll be rooms that Paul steps in that I'll never get in. And when you're in those rooms, will you think of me when they're making decisions about young African-American men, or, what I'm saying, or middle-aged white men, will you speak up and say, hey, man, that ain't the truth. This is what I know to be a Paul, and this is what I know to be a Matt. So I did that. Well, they videoed it. Somebody videoed it, and Jeff Lovingood seen it. And Jeff Lovingood called me. That happened on a Tuesday night, I think. Yeah, it was a Tuesday night. And it was a Sunday. The next Monday, that Monday morning, Jeff Lovingood calls me at like 7 o'clock and was like, hey, man, I seen this video, man. It was awesome. And I was like,
Did you know Jeff Lovingood at the time?
I knew him, yeah, but I didn't, we knew of each other. And I knew him. So I was like, yeah. I'm like, all right, man, great. And he was like, hey, I want you to come and talk to our staff. I want you to talk to our staff about that. And I said, okay. I said, cool, when? He said, at 8 o'clock. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, we want you to do it today. Can you do it today? And I was like, well, give me a minute, man. Let me get up and get my bearings, and I'll come up there. And I go up there, and we're having a staff meeting. And so at the staff meeting, I said the same thing, And then
to all the middle-aged white men.
Yeah, to all. Well, it was some women too. There's some women in there too.
Because I appreciate what you just said, but I think middle-aged white men are covered in most meetings.
In most meetings, they are.
But I hear you, though.
Yeah,
and I love everything that you just said, because
because
if those folks aren't in the room, this is what I heard you just say.
Yeah.
Will we still think of them and speak for them?
Yeah.
Plan for them. Be intentional
about it. Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Because because sometimes, most times, out of sight, out of mind.
But when you are unified, there is no out of sight, out of mind.
No.
We don't forget about our women. We don't forget about our babies. They're never out of sight, out of mind.
There you go.
But there are a whole bunch of other relationships that
Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
that's most meaningful, yeah.
So we go, I do that, and then
How'd that go?
it went good. It was
What was
great.
the response?
Great. It was awesome.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
2
tracking.
thumbs up. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we agree.
Okay.
Well, after that meeting, Jeff was like, "I want you to meet our pastor, Pastor Jordan." So I walk over to Pastor Jordan's office, and he was like, "Hey, we meet." And he was like, "We need to get up and sometime and talk, whatever." I was like, "Great, we will." And at the time, I was getting a lot of phone calls from a lot of pastors, and I'll just be straight up with you guys. A lot of white pastors were calling me, and they were like, "Hey, Frank, what would you do with this? Like, what does this sound like?" And I was like, man, I started really leaning into it because I was like, Lord, this is an opportunity for me to really minister and, be a conduit of, change and unity. So then they called me probably like a week, 2 weeks after they called me. First Baptist called me and they was like, "Hey, we want to take you to dinner." And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be more of what I've been doing with the other pastors in the community. So I was like, great, let's do it. So we go to Outback and we're sitting there talking. And Pastor Jordan asked me a question. He says, "Hey, Frank, do you feel like you've been maximized where you're at?" And when he said it, I thought,
What, detailing and painting and
Yeah, I'm
being
like-
content with
yeah, like-
menial jobs?
yeah, I was like,
Yes.
I promise you I'm maximized. But at the time,
No, I
I'm
get
like,
it.
you know,
I
I'm
get
like,
it. Yeah.
so I'm having to ask myself the question, like, am I really been maximized? So he asked me that question. And I'm like, yeah, I think I am. Yeah, he was like, I was like, yeah, I'm doing, I'm cleaning church, I'm doing all the things, like, yeah.
Coaching. You're
Yeah,
coaching. at the time?
coaching, teaching.
You still in school?
Yeah, still in school.
Yeah.
Still in school. And then, like I said, doing my detailing deal. And then anytime I could paint, I'm like, hey, I can paint. Hey, you need it painted? I'll paint it. Just hustling.
You
You know
had
what I'm
a
saying?
lot going
Yeah,
on.
just hustling.
Yeah.
And so Pastor Jordan asked me that question, and I answered him. I was like, yeah, I think so. And he was like, well, one of the things that we did when we first got here, Pastor Jordan did a lot of different home groups where he would go into different people's houses in a group of people, and he'd talk to them and tell them about, his vision and talk about his heart and to see what it is that they wanted and what they planned on. And he said one of the things that he's seen in every group was that they wanted local missions. Like, hey, we need to start doing stuff here that, Jim Gibson was doing everything from local missions to, he was doing the whole deal.
He was doing too much.
Yeah. And Jim, and little did I know that Jim was champion for me to come. Like, he was like, I got to have somebody else. We got to have somebody else.
How long did it take you to find out that he was championing a new position?
When I got there, Jim, so they offered me the job at dinner. And I was like, me and my wife were hitting each other under the table like, this ain't happening. Like, what in the world? And I was really nervous about it. And I loved my pastor, Pastor Bob Malone, who I still respect. And I mean, he was amazing. And he was the one that released me to go because I wasn't going to come. And I really put the brakes on it. And my wife was like, Frank, I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to change churches inside of the same town. I don't want to be a guy that causes division in any way, so I'm not doing that. That's out. And so they kept pursuing me, and I was just ignoring them. Like, Jeff would call me and be like, hey, we sent you over the stuff. I was like, and I just was ignoring them. But I never told them no, but I was just ignoring them, And my wife said, I said, they'll get they'll eventually leave it alone, And my
You
wife,
do know Jeff Lovingood, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
At the time.
There's no leaving it alone.
No. So my wife was like, Frank, you need to, lean into this. Well, I was meeting with my pastor at the time every Friday morning. And I finally told him, like, hey, First Baptist has been, pretty hot and heavy on me, but, my heart is here with you. And, I don't, what you guys are doing. And he said something to me that changed everything. He said, hey, Frank, he said, you need to really think about this. He said, and I believe it's a God thing. He said, because what we're doing here at our church, and we probably had maybe 75 people at the church where I was at. He said, what we're doing here, or what you want to do here, you can do at First Baptist, but you won't be able to do it here. And at the time, I took it as like a slight. Like, I was like, he doesn't want me here? Like, what's the deal? Like, I haven't served you well, Pastor Bob? Like, what's the deal? And he was like, no, the resources and the vision that they have, it's the same vein in where you're going. So this makes sense, Frank. And when he told me that, I went home and I told Yakia, and I was like, my wife, and I was like, have we done something? Have we offended them? Like, what, And my wife was like, "No, I told you." You know,
She gets it,
yeah,
doesn't she?
she got it right away. You know what I'm saying?
She's
So,
been getting it through this hour we've been hanging out.
I've told you.
Okay.
I'm telling you, like
Okay.
I'm blessed. So, and in that, so that made it. So Pastor Bob kind of, and him and Jordan talked. You know what I'm saying? Just to make, because I just didn't want to be the guy in town. Oh, he left this little small church and went to the big church. You know, all those things. And so they talked, and you know, they're good friends, and you know, so I mean, it was great. So that transition was probably one of the biggest moments. One of the biggest moments in my life, and probably the best decision besides me marrying my wife. That's probably the second best decision ever. But to answer your question about Jim, so soon as I come on board, Jim says, nobody else says this. Jim says, hey, the first 4 weeks, me and you gonna meet every week. And he took me to Cracker Barrel every week, and we would meet, and we would talk, and we would meet, and we would talk, and he would tell me his stories, and you know, because Jim's, you know,
He's Jim Gibson.
I mean, I'm telling you, like,
Yeah.
he's, you know, he's the big, you know, the big kahuna. To me, he's that guy, you know. So
me too.
Yeah, so he walked, you know, he was telling me, and he was kind of walking me through some stuff, and you know, and Jim's big deal is, you know what I'm saying, is like, hey, you know, make sure you're taking care of your family. Like, hey, you know, you're getting ready to step into this position, and you're getting ready to be drinking from a fire hydrant. And that's exactly what it was. My face was peeling back, you know what I'm saying, the whole deal. I mean, and he was there the whole way, like, you know, and then his wife and my wife became are really good friends, and she gets to speak in to my wife. And then Jim just started, you know, sharing with me like, hey, this is, you know, the direction that we've been wanting to go. And I knew that we needed this local missions position. And then he started giving me his vision. He started showing me, like, on paper what he wanted to do. And it was exactly what was in my heart. And it was like, holy cow. And then I started running with it.
Pastor Bob knew.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Pastor Bob knew. He did. He knew. And that's I mean, but you know, I look at my life, man, and and you guys probably do the same. You look at your life and you're like, man, had not that man been obedient to what God was doing, I could be anywhere. And that's really the blessing of having men like you guys that are like, hey, man, when God moves, we want to be obedient to what he's telling us to do. And when we do those things, it's transformational. You know, and I always say this, I say this all the time, when men's obedience meets God's faithfulness, you get transformation. When you do what God's telling you to do, God's going to be faithful, and you're going to see transformation. Whether you see it, but most of the time, that's what you're going to get. Yeah. And so for me, it's like, hey, just do what God's telling you to do. And I did it. And now I'm in a position that I'm in love with it, man. I freaking love what I do. Yeah. For real. I really do.
I know you do.
Yeah, I really do.
It's crazy how our younger selves needed people to step into our space, into our lives, onto the path. Either tell us to stop, tell us to let's go forward, maybe even, hey, let's go back and unlearn some stuff. That's a thing, right?
That's definitely, and I had to do that. Yes, absolutely.
And now we are stepping on the path. We're pausing folks.
You're like, hey.
We're picking up the pace with some.
Yep.
Or we're saying, hey, I know it's backwards, but I'll walk with you. Let's unlearn some stuff. Yeah. And let's carry on.
Yep.
Buddy, I'm thankful for you, man. This is fun.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
Dude, this is...
No coincidences.
No, it ain't.
None.
It ain't, man. It ain't.
I looked over my shoulder. There's Frank Walker on Friday night. Here we are on Monday. There's no coincidences, right?
It is, though. There's none. And like I said, I didn't know, like I was telling Matt, it's such a small world. Like, man, to hear him talk about my father-in-law, and I'm like, man, and I can't wait to go back and tell him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, he's sitting at home. He doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, man, that'll be a full circle moment for him. I guarantee you. That cool. Definitely will, man. Definitely will. So.
Yeah, and I've mentioned some stuff like that to him before, as we'd bump into each other, and I would just, I need this guy to know, because I'm at a place in life where I realize that there are people out there that probably feel that way about me, and I just don't know it.
Yeah, that's right.
So I want to make sure I take that moment to tell him, like, good, bad, or indifferent, you were in a spot in a moment, and I needed you, and you were there.
When you said Donnie Arwine, I was like, yeah, that's him. That's my father-in-law. I was like, that's him.
Yeah. Hey, I got one more question for you.
Yeah.
Because you're a guy that's had some real, like, step out of the boat moments. Maybe we all have, but yours yours stand out to me. But how does that moment, that offering at First Baptist, because that's one of
Yeah.
those moments where you turn it, how does that compare to like a smaller scale population wise, but going to a Morocco or because that's Morocco's,
It's an intense
there's some
place.
scary places in
Yeah.
Morocco.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, yeah.
You go in and speaking to people who've never heard this story, how's that compare?
Man, I learned something through Jim Gibson. uh, I tell people all the time, like, and it's not that he's different, but Jim Gibson, when you see Jim, like everybody loves Jim. To know Jim is to love Jim. Jim is this jolly guy, loves people, loves the Lord. You can see it. It's all over him all the time. So to know him is to love him. But to see Jim in the mission field is something different. And it's not that he's any different. It's just that you can really see the tangible hand of God on his life when he's in the mission field. So to me, it's like when I can see it the way Jim is as country as they come, and he's as country as they come in Morocco, in Nepal. He's the same country Jim, and people love him. I'm talking about love him. So one of the things that I realized though by watching Jim is Jim knows one thing, that no matter where you go in this world, people need the same thing, and that's Jesus. So, people have different tangible needs, but when we get to the root of it, the number one thing, it don't matter if you go to East Cleveland, don't matter if you go to Nepal, Morocco, Mauritania, don't matter where you go, people need the same thing, and that's Jesus Christ. And so when I would go, I would kind of go with the kind of timid, just like, well, I don't know, I got to figure out the culture and do all these things. But Jim was going just being Jim. He was just being all, and I was like, what? And Jim was the same person, no matter where he went. His strategy didn't change none. He was just loving people and telling them about Jesus. And I would see him, and I was like, man. And then it got easy. It's like, oh, he's even figured it out. People have different strategies, and that's great. But when you boil it down, it's still the same thing. Jesus. If I can get him Jesus, if I can be, loving and caring and understanding and being a light to them, that's how, and the more I live that out here in my home, in my community, amongst my friends, whenever I get out there, I'm the same person. But it looks different because I'm in a totally different atmosphere. So it looks different, but it's the same need, man. People need Jesus no matter where you go. And Jim Gibson has really taught me that. He does that really well.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that, having the opportunity to speak here and step out in those boat moments is just one of, I ministered yesterday, and I ministered on Joshua, the fork in the road, as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And so you talk about those step out of the boat moments, those faith moments. And one of the things, it becomes, I guess easier might not be the right word, but it becomes more natural to step out of the boat because God has been faithful. You look back and you're like, my wife is still here after 21 years. My children, they love Jesus. They're healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at my life like, Frank, you're not even supposed to be here like this. You know what I'm saying? In this capacity, like, people always say, Frank, man, you're such a good guy. And I'm like, man, my character was not that. When you knew me, it wasn't that, but God protected it, and God, honored it, and helped change it, and sent people into my life to get, what I'm saying? So I look back now, and I'm just like, man, God has been faithful. So it's I guess easier, but it's more natural to step out the boat. It's just like, man, I look back at my life, and if it had not been for God. So when I get in those moments to step out the boat, it's like, okay, here we go again. Let's go along for the ride. And Pastor Jordan says this all the time. Keep your yes on the table. I know it's kind of cliche. You know what I'm saying? It is, keep your yes on the table. Keep your yes on the table. Keep your yes on the table. But I have found out that keeping my yes on the table keeps me seeing the hand of God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because, and Pop, Donnie, he says it this way. When you get to the end of yourself, that's where you see God. You know, when you get to the end of yourself, when you're done being you get to the end of yourself, then that's where you'll see God. And so I try to keep my yes on the table, man. And I know me, if it starts getting comfortable, it's getting ready to be a train wreck. If it starts becoming comfortable for me, it's going to be because I'll be in my own strength. I'll do it. So in First Baptist, that's one of the reasons why I really love where I'm at is Pastor Jordan's a visionary, man. He's a big visionary. And so he keeps pushing and keeps pushing and keeps pushing. And for me, that's a good thing. For me, that's a very good thing.
Sounds like you have many and will continue to have opportunities to take that next risk.
Yeah.
So you can continue to live that life of faith.
Yeah.
Take another risk.
Yep. And the biggest one's coming up in about a year and a half. So y'all be praying for me. My daughter's going off to college. So I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. See, that's another
normal.
step.
Next
yeah,
new normal.
Exactly. Yeah, man. I like that. And that's a step out of the boat moment when she says, "Hey, I want to go out of the state to go to school." I'm like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, those. I mean, and a lot of times, you know, people, you know, you see these step out of the boat moments, and you know, it's like I took a job or I quit my job, but you know, sending your kid out to school, that's a step of faith. Releasing your son to, you know, get married, that's a step of faith. Those are steps of faith, man. So just try to keep doing it. I had a guy tell me this too, a pastor, his name is R.J. McCowan in Chattanooga. And he says it this way. He says, to the believer, the unknown will always show itself friendly. And I've tried to live by that. I've really tried to live by that. When moving forward, you don't know the whole picture. But I'm like, Lord, hey, you know, I'm trusting you. So hopefully, and it showed itself friendly to me every time. So try to stay in that lane when it comes to living out your faith. Because God is going to give you moments to step out of the boat.
You're a stepper, man. Well, you've been stepping.
We all have.
Yeah.
You know, we all have. You know, really, we all have.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I'm gonna keep stepping. Because when I'm telling you, if I'm not stepping, it's brutal. When Frank it's brutal, man. I'm telling you, like
You are saying so much without saying much at all by your simple repetition.
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna pause you right here because
well,
hey, come hang out with us again sometime.
Yeah,
Will you do that?
Yeah, sounds great.
Because we'll go to those places. Because here's the place that I want to go with you next time, even when I just see you.
Yeah,
whether we're recording or not. It's just what parenting has taught us. What parenting has taught us. When our kids were young, I'm going to use the word immature so I can come back to it.
Yeah.
But when they were young, we had to do so much for them. And now our job so much is to encourage and maybe give a little nudge.
Yeah.
How, as a good father, we do that. How much more our Heavenly Father. That's embedded in the scriptures, right?
For sure.
Where, hey, we ain't young in the faith anymore. We're not immature anymore. And so sometimes I imagine Abba just giving us little nudges and not just doing things for us. God intervenes. I believe it, man, with my whole heart. But I believe so much of the back half of this life is the experience of, all right, you've been scared before and you did it anyway. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
That's good.
Proud of you.
That's
right
good.
here.
Yeah. Do it again.
You might get hurt, but you know you're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You tracking what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And like my boys we're almost 18, 20, and 22. And it's just like, I want to see them take risks. And I don't even mind. And this is a dad's heart. This isn't a mama's heart. We have this conversation all the time. But it's like, I don't mind if it doesn't work out for them. Because I know back half of life that the things that don't work out in the moment usually work out in the end.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
And so as a dad, I don't mind them feeling some tension. I don't mind them experiencing what they're calling failure right now, because failure right now is going to mean, something different later on.
It'll be part of the tool belt later on.
So I'm going to pause us right now because
that's good.
We keep going.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good.
So
but I will
pause.
say this though. I will say
this.
One of the biggest things that being a father and being a parent has taught me is forgiveness. Like
who?
My own parents.
Okay. And who else?
forgiveness for myself.
Yeah, that's where I was
forgiveness-
going.
Yeah, forgiveness for myself.
You beat
yeah.
me to the punch with forgiving our parents.
Yeah, because you like, man,
But now we know.
Because I thought I lived half of my life hating my father. Like, just like, you was a scum of the earth, da-da-da-da-da. But then I come to realize, like, hey, man.
I'm trying my best, and my best still ain't good enough.
And I'm like, man,
my best may be better than that, but my best is still leaving something lacking for my kids. But some wisdom spoken into Sarah and I's life was like, oh yeah, that leaves room for the Savior. And it's like, okay, so
Praise
perfection isn't the expectation. So maybe I should let go of these unrealistic, unfair expectations.
Yes.
And allow myself to just be in relationship with my kids.
Yep.
And let's see what grows out of that.
That's great.
Especially in this season of their life.
That's good. No, that's good. But yeah, that's probably been the biggest thing for me is seeing like, hey man, and I tell my kids all the time, like, there are gonna be things when you become your own man, your own woman, and you got your own family, like you're gonna look back and be like, man, I wish Dad would have did this different. And that's okay. And that's what I tell them that now. Like, hey, that's okay.
Yeah. Our boys are coming back, and every once in a while they'll throw something out there of like, yeah, when this happened, or when y'all did that, or when this was normal, and it's like, that was our best. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, sorry.
Didn't have a clue.
And
didn't have a clue.
Our boys are very gracious to go, yeah, no big deal. It felt like a big deal back then.
Oh,
I hear you over there.
Yeah, I mean, some of the best conversations me and my son have been those like, hey, remember when this happened, or when you did this, or this is him talking. Like, yeah, man, like, you know how you're going through some stuff right now and you're just trying to figure it out and you don't have the right answers all the time. Me too. Yeah, like, me too, man.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, if I could go back and change some things, I would, but that's not how life works. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
It is.
You mentioned that earlier, becoming that sort of respected friend with that's, love it. You're a big deal, Frank.
Man, I sure appreciate you guys having me on today, man.
Yes, sir.
What's the name of the podcast?
Downright Mindful.
Downright Mindful. All right, cool. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, Matt, I don't know what else to tell you.
We're just pushing pause, man. We don't ever stop around here.
I can tell. I can tell. Like, boy,
I tried to push pause already. That was like 15 minutes ago.
We wasn't done, man.
We could go. Hey, Paul, you should have known. We could go, Paul. Between me and you, we could go all day.
I know.
Good stuff, man. Thank you for coming.
No doubt,
we'd
man.
definitely
No
love to
doubt.
have you come back sometime.
Anytime, man.
Pick up right here and
anytime.
move on.
Anytime, man. I think it's great what you guys are doing, and a podcast. This would be my first one. It's the first one I've ever done. Yeah, so
I'm surprised by that. You're a man about town. You have found your voice. We established that today. Yeah. Surprised.
Who? I mean, I don't know who had. Like, I don't. And I'm not a big podcaster. That's what I'll say that too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a big podcaster.
This gives us some reps and some skill sets that we're just trying to develop as teachers, but even in our own interests. You know, this has just been fun. It's just been a process. And I told him coming up, I was like, this is your podcast, and you just let me be a part.
That's not true.
See, I told you he could play.
See, the way he come in talking to me, I was like, does he think this is my show?
Yes.
But I'm telling you, I sit right here, I go home.
I told that.
This guy goes to work.
I told him, I said, Matt, you tell me. I said, hey, man, how long you been doing this? Da, da, da. I should have known. Paul. I should have known. Paul.